Hey, what's up everybody, it's Axel here, and today we're checking out this. This is the Moondrop Illustrious, a single dynamic driver IEM that comes in at around $899. It's the successor to the Moondrop Illumination, and there's a lot of marketing talk about like the driver design, the diaphragm material, all that techie innovation going on inside, and that's all cool, but what really matters is like how does it sound at the end of the day, and today we're going to dive into that. And first let's start with the unboxing experience, and first thing you get is this premium feeling hard shell zipper carrying case. Like, this one is not pocketable, but it's very protective. It has a hard surface and looks really nice, looks really premium, and it feels tough. I love it, and it's roomy enough, you know, to carry your IEMs, a cable, a dongle, a few ear tips even. Speaking of ear tips, you get a lot, like 12 pairs to be exact. You get like 3 pairs of foam, you know, 3 pairs of narrow bore silicone ear tips, these ones, and then you get 3 pairs of Moondrop spring ear tips, and you get these clear, like grippy liquid silicone ear tips. These ones, I think these ones are really important for this IEM, and I will explain why in just a second. After that, you get this cable, which is a nice cable with the swappable terminations. So it's a, you know, a modular cable, and the swappable terminations screw in very nicely. The cable is a little microphonic above the chin slider, and overall it's soft. You know, it's a bit tangly sometimes, but you know, overall it's easy to manage. Some slight memory, but manageable, doesn't get in the way. And let's talk about the earpieces themselves. They're made out of this shiny metal that looks gorgeous to me. You know, looks are subjective, but unfortunately these are complete fingerprint magnet. They are lightweight though, and as you can see, they're kind of small. Like, this is a small IEM in my opinion, and it has these vents right here that you can see, one vent here, one vent here, and it's like pretty open back in terms of sound, and I will explain that in a moment. But overall, these are small, like really small, and they sit flush in my ears. I can sleep with them, that's how comfortable they are. But there is one thing here I want to talk about, which is the nozzle. Now, the nozzle here is not big, it's actually pretty small. It's 5.4 millimeter at the widest point, and it doesn't have a lip to hold, you know, the ear tips in place. So if you're using large ear tips like me, you can put it here and they actually slide off really easy. You know, I've had ear tips get stuck in my ear when using it, which isn't exactly fun. That's why I feel these ear tips, the grippy ones, the liquid silicone ones, and you can use like any brand you like, actually they all have the same idea. They stick really well here. Like, these are a game changer. Like, you can see I can move it, it doesn't really move. So, you know, it's nice that they provide ear tips that match the IEM itself, you know, that holds on tight. Isolation wise, I want to talk about that also for a second. I can hear my surroundings with this. Like, I can hear a lot of what's going on around me. To give you an idea how, you know, isolating or how lacking in isolation they are, depending on if you want that or not. If I'm wearing these and I talk to someone and someone is talking to me at normal volume, I don't even have to take the IEM outside of my ear in order to hear them clearly. That's how much. Like, I can hear things going on in the background, like fans or anything like that. It blocks some noise, like around 30% or so, but not much more than that. So it kind of feels like open back headphones, you know, like depending on what you want from an IEM, this could be a pro or a con. Now let's start talking about the sound and look at the frequency response graph of the Moondrop Illustrious. And there you go, right here on the screen. What you'll notice is that this has like a kind of a neutral or a neutral warm tuning, light bass, relaxed treble, and, you know, an elevated upper mid-range with good extension. But how does it sound to my ears? I will describe it in 3 words. I'll say it sounds warm, it sounds smooth, it sounds laid back. Let's start by talking about the bass. Bass here on the Moondrop Illustrious, not a lot going on here, especially in the sub bass. On tracks like Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, you get a little thump, a light punch, but that deep rumble, you know, in the sub bass just isn't really there. The mid bass is present, it's just light. You know, there is some mid bass, by the way, it's not completely lacking, and the texture is okay. The low sub bass extension here definitely affects the bass definition. For bass lovers, this ain't it, but personally I wanted more. I wanted more slam, I wanted more power, and I definitely wanted more rumble. The Illustrious doesn't bring that kind of low end energy, but I understand we all have different preferences. Not everyone is going to like bass like me, so for those of you who don't want a lot of bass in your music, I feel the Illustrious does that while, you know, avoiding sounding like completely lacking in the bass, let's say that. Let's move on to the mid-range, which I really like on the Illustrious. Actually, it sounds amazing. I feel although there isn't like a lot of bass here, the mids still have that nice weight and warmth, especially the male vocals. Like, they don't sound thin or lean at all. they actually sound warm and full, which surprised me. There is some warmth and richness here in the mid-range that gives the vocals and instruments a full-bodied natural sound. Now, it's not the kind of tuning that's going to give you that super clean, crisp separation between the bass and the mid, so if you're chasing after that separation, or you're like wanting to get that maximum neutral vocal clarity, this is something to keep in mind. But if you enjoy a slightly colored, a slightly warm, but natural sounding mid-range, I feel you're going to like this. Females' vocals also like come through nicely, you know, they're detailed, they're clean, not husky, not shouty. Overall, it's a very relaxed and pleasant mid-range that sounds natural and easy to listen to. If we move on to the treble, I will say overall the treble feels relaxed and laid back. The lower treble here has enough presence to avoid sounding dull, so like it doesn't like feel muted or missing in the lower treble, but the treble overall sounds laid back. I feel that people who like relaxed treble are going to like this, and as someone who's pretty sensitive myself to the treble region, I find it very easy to listen to, but I still found the treble to be too relaxed, even for me. It definitely doesn't have that sparkle or top-end air that gives the music a sense of air and space. I feel like especially with the warmer mids on the Illustrious, like a touch more upper treble would have helped balance things out, added some air and clarity. That said though, cymbals and hi-hats don't have that crisp, let's say, definition or bite to them, but on the flip side, they're actually never harsh. They're completely inoffensive at any volume level, so that is nice. There is no sharpness, there is no sibilance, just chill, you know. It's an inoffensive treble, which, you know, I feel some folks will definitely appreciate that. This makes the Illustrious an IEM that you can listen to for long listening sessions. Now, when it comes to the technical performance, the Illustrious is decent, okay? The resolution is okay. If we ignore the price, I will say the resolution is actually good. I don't think anyone is going to listen to the Illustrious and say, oh, I'm not getting enough detail. But honestly, for the price, it's underwhelming. I would say it's somewhere on my technical scale. It sits like roughly somewhere around like 30% between the Nova and the Pilgrim. You're here enough detail to enjoy your music, but if you look at other IEMs, you know, at this price range, or even like I'll say even planars, or something like Moondrop's own Meteor, this just doesn't stack up in my opinion. Separation and stage and imaging are good. Timbre is actually quite nice, natural organic timbre. One of the best things about the Illustrious is actually the natural timbre. For me, it's a standout. It's impressive. It sounds, you know, natural in my opinion. Resolution is one of the few areas where I feel the Illustrious just falls short in my opinion. That said, it's smooth, it's easy to listen to if this is something you're looking for. If you're after like a fatigue-free, laid-back tuning with like good imaging, rich mid-range, I feel there's something to enjoy here. I want to do two comparisons. First one is this one. This is the DITA Mecha. I like the DITA Mecha actually. It's definitely on the bigger and heavier side. That said, if you know, like smaller IEMs, or if you have like smaller ears or just prefer compact IEMs, I think the Illustrious is definitely a lot smaller and more compact, man. You'll probably get a much better fit. Just look at that size difference. Sound-wise though, they're completely different. The Mecha has this punchy, vibrant, super energetic tuning. It's got that slam in the bass, the lively treble, it's got the sparkle, it's got the air, and even more detail. It's just more exciting to listen to. The Illustrious, on the other hand, is all about that warm, relaxing, full-bodied sound and the laid-back presentation. What really stood out to me when I was comparing them is just how much warmer the Illustrious sounded and how much fuller it sounded in the mid-range, and overall has this relaxing vibe to it, while the Mecha brought in that low-end power, the bass slam, and the sparkle up top. Another comparison I want to do here is quickly the Sennheiser IE600. Man, the difference between those two is like really night and day. The first thing that hit me with the IE600 was that bass. It definitely has that deep textured bass. It has that rumble, you know, sub-bass rumble that's just phenomenal. And it pulls out sub-bass rumble in hip-hop tracks that I didn't even realize had any sub-bass rumble. Super defined bass and very punchy. But the IE600 has that classic V-shaped tuning. It's bassy, yes, but it's also bright in my opinion. It's very detailed and has a very sharp, precise imaging. It's an energetic listen for sure, you know. The treble on it though can be a bit too much sometimes, and I feel this is where the Illustrious comes in. It's the total opposite of that tuning. It's warmer, it's more laid back, a lot less bass, you know, fuller mid-range, natural mid-range. I can listen to it for hours without fatigue. Comfort-wise also, the Illustrious fits me a bit better too. The IE600 is comfortable, but the Illustrious just feels more secure. And like for quick listening sessions, if I want to listen to that bass bass and detail, I will go with the i600, but for longer, like relaxing sessions, I feel the Illustrious is easier to listen to. I feel also like the mid-range timbre and the vocals, I would go also for the Illustrious. You know, the i600 could use a bit more vocal focus in my opinion, but I feel both are impressive IEMs, kind of depending on what you're looking for. That's basically it. So let's talk about who I recommend the Moondrop Illustrious to. I feel number one is open sounding IEM. Like if you're looking for something open sounding that doesn't block a lot of noise. You know, this is also a difference between this and the DITA Mecha or the i600, is that this is an open back. It doesn't block noise, and it kind of reminds me of open back headphones because of that. So this is number one for that. Number two, I recommend it for people who prefer a warm, laid-back sound that's focused on the tonality more than the detail. Number three, treble sensitive listeners who want a relaxed treble. Comfort is also another reason for me to recommend this. And finally, I recommend it for anyone who wants an IEM that is a single DD, and easy on the ears for long listening sessions without causing fatigue. And anyone who wants like an IEM that comes with good accessories at this price point, like I feel like people who like single DDs, this is something to consider. Who I don't recommend this to, which is really important as well. Number one, bass lovers. Anyone who wants a deep, powerful bass, this is not it. Number two, people who want like a highly technical, detailed IEM, that has that, high resolution, the crisp separation. This, in my opinion, is a bit underwhelming here compared to other IEMs. And I don't recommend it for people who want that sparkly treble, lots of air, lots of top-end extension. I feel the Illustrious is relaxed and laid back up top. I don't recommend it also for people who want that clean separation between the bass and the mids. And I don't recommend it if the nozzle, the smooth nozzle, is something that bothers you. Yeah, I don't recommend it if you want strong isolation. I feel there are other IEMs that give you that isolation. So what is the final verdict and the final rating of the Moondrop Illustrious? I'm going to give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I feel actually it's good. It's not heavy on the bass, it's not heavy on the treble, but it does have a nice, pleasant tonality that I feel most people will probably enjoy. That's a wrap up on my review of the Moondrop Illustrious. Let me know what you think if you've tried it. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.